What if true dragon Rimuru born as Veldanava's last hope? The story follows the original series with a twist. Rimuru is reincarnated as a true dragon subspecies instead of a slime, possessing a mature form and abilities capable of turning the impossible into reality, the ultimate hope left behind by the Star King Dragon, Veldanava, before his passing. BY, Slime 237. Chapter 91 Preliminaries Plan. Shinsho, Fars, and Stella entered the preliminaries arena, where 21 fighters were present. This match was designed to eliminate fighters by throwing them out of the ring. The 8 who remained would face off against each other one-on-one until one person remained. "You guys ready?" Shinsho asked. "Yeah," Fars replied. "Born ready," Stella added. When the bell rang, the fighters began pushing each other off the arena stage. 20 minutes passed, and there were 9 fighters left, only one more elimination to go. "Fars, Stella, I think it's almost time," Shinsho whispered. Before they could execute their plan, a red-haired man started swinging his sword at Shinsho. "Ha ha ha! I hear you're that weak slime's daughter, right?" the man laughed. "You should know better than to fight in an arena for men." "What the heck? How dare you call my papa a weak slime?" Shinsho yelled. "And who are you supposed to be?" "The name is Gari. The man who's going to beat you up." "How annoying," Shinsho muttered. In her head, she realized, wait, this might actually work out. Shinsho exchanged sword strikes with him, slowly backing up to the corner of the arena. "Ha! You lost, Princess," Gari declared as he charged straight ahead. "Gotcha!" Shinsho smirked. She turned into a slime, and Gari flew right over her, landing outside the arena. With that, he was disqualified. "What? No fair, that was cheating!" Gari shouted. "Rules are rules." "You're out," the referee called out. "Yay, we did it! We're in the finals." Shinsho cheered. "Awesome," Fars said. "No one can beat us." Stella laughed. Shinsho thought to herself, it's about time. "Nemu, are you ready?" "Yes," Nemu replied telepathically. As the audience cheered for them, Gari was not happy. He threw his sword straight at Shinsho, but she dodged it easily. Just then, the wall of the arena where Nemu and Mariabelle were standing broke slightly. Mariabelle fell into the arena with the sword flying straight toward her. "Mariabelle!" Shinsho gasped. She moved quickly and pushed Mariabelle out of the way, but the sword pierced through her shoulder. "Oh!" Shinsho cried out, pretending to be in severe pain. "All right, let's see if her good side comes out." Shinsho had planned to get hurt to see if Mariabelle would react to help her, and her gamble worked. Mariabelle stared for a second, then stood up and tried her hardest to pull the sword out of the wall. "Are you okay?" Mariabelle asked. "Yeah, no big deal," Shinsho said. "Still, it's nice to know you really care." "What? I was just doing what's right, that's all," Mariabelle stammered. "Besides, I knew you weren't in real danger." "Thanks. I guess," Shinsho smiled. With that, the preliminaries ended. Gari, who had thrown the sword, was arrested and taken to a prison cell for attacking the princess. The plan worked out fine. "Thanks, guys," Shinsho communicated. "No problem," the 3 replied. Chapter 92 Money Crisis. The sun was setting, marking the end of the day's activities. Rimuru and the rest went to a meeting to discuss the problem Mermal brought to them, but first. "Shinsho, how was your day?" "Having fun?" Rimuru asked. "Yeah, I sure did. And that's not all, I think I finally managed to reach Mariabelle's good side," Shinsho said. "Really?" Shishu asked, surprised. "Impressive," Rimuru noted. "However, I can't sense her anymore," Shinsho sighed. It's like she disappeared after the tournament ended, and I didn't even get to say goodbye. Guess that means I failed my mission. Not true, sweetie, Rimuru comforted her. Your mission was to uncover whether or not she still has good inside her, and you did just that. You should be proud of yourself. I guess. Listen, failing one mission is not a problem, but not learning from your failure is, Rimuru said gently. So if you fail, you get back up and try again. Your father is correct, as Rail chimed in. Plus, he makes way more mistakes than you. Hey! Rimuru yelled. That is true, sometimes, Shizu added with a soft chuckle. Rimuru felt completely defeated. Anyway, back to Murmel. You have something to tell us? Rimuru asked. Yes. You see. Murmel began to explain the situation. Seriously? They'll only accept dwarven gold coins. Rimuru shouted. I'm afraid so, Murmel replied. And all of this is under Western nations law, so it is legitimate. Damn! Rimuru cursed. Clearly, someone is behind this, Diolo noted. Why think? As Rail muttered. But why don't we force our own rules upon them? Shun suggested. If we do that, they may not see us as friendly, Rimuru explained. We are trying to coexist with humans, after all. But we already built an economic bloc with 5 other nations, Shun argued. If Tempest is at the center of that, wouldn't trying to oppose us lead to even greater losses for them? Rimuru was in total shock at what had just come out of Shun's mouth. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Is this really Shun? When did she get so smart? She is correct, Rimuru-sama, Diolo agreed. It would seem they cannot help but build a class system among themselves. Then that means our economic alliance would put them in jeopardy, as Rail added. If they think they can push us around just like that, they're going to regret the day they were born, Rimuru said firmly. So what should we do, Rimuru-sama? Shuna asked. I'll have to ask King Gazelle for help and see if he can help us get the money on time, Rimuru replied. The merchant said they will wait until the end of the festival to collect the payment, so we should have enough time, Murmel reassured them. Good. All we can do now is wait and hope things turn out okay, Rimuru concluded. Meeting adjourned. Let's all rest up and enjoy tomorrow's martial arts tournament. I plan to win it. Shinsho cheered. We'll be rooting for you, Shizu smiled. Chapter 93 Tournament Part 1. The day had come for the martial arts tournament to begin, and everyone was excited to see the fighters in the ring. Attention, ladies and gentlemen. Suka announced into the microphone. I am Suka, and I will be your host for today's martial arts tournament. So without further ado, allow me to introduce the fighters. One by one, the fighters slowly entered the arena. Masayuki. Jinrai. Stella. Fars. Lion Mask. Gobta. Geld. Shinsho. Now our fighters will draw from the box to see who their opponents will be. Suka announced. The match arrangements were set. Masayuki vs Jinrai. Gobta vs Fars. Geld vs Lion Mask. Stella vs Shinsho. Now that the order is set, let the first match begin. Round 1 was not much of a fight, as Jinrai forfeited the match instantly, giving Masayuki an automatic win. In round 2, Gobta was struggling to dodge Fars's fast attacks in her beast form. That was when he decided to summon his wolf, but to his surprise, Ronga emerged from his shadow instead. Guess he couldn't wait and forced his way into Gobta's summoning, Rimuru sighed. Well, it does even the playing field for Gobta at least, Shizu remarked. The fight continued, and Fars was eventually pushed out of the ring by Ronga's powerful storm attacks. The winner of round 2 was Gobta. Round 3 was much more exciting to watch, as the attacks from both Geld and Lion Mask sent shockwaves throughout the entire arena. After some time, Geld began focusing heavily on defense. Seeing this, Lion Mask unleashed more of his power and knocked Geld out cold. The winner of round 3 was Lion Mask. You put up a good fight, Geld. You should feel proud, Lion Mask said, offering a hand. The next time we meet, I am sure to win, Geld replied respectfully. After that friendly exchange, it was time for round 4. Both Shinsho and Stella took their hand-to-hand combat stances. Ready to lose, Stella? Shinsho teased. Just because you're the princess of this nation doesn't mean I'll hold back. Stella replied. The two began their fight, exchanging blow for blow with their fists, much like Geld and Lion Mask had done. Although Stella had more raw physical muscle, Shinsho was tactically smarter, and her flexibility allowed her to use Stella's own strength against her. After a hard-fought struggle, Shinsho delivered a powerful kick to Stella's belly, sending her soaring out of the ring. The winner of round 4 was Shinsho. Well, I guess you win. It was a good match, Stella grinned, wiping sweat from her forehead. I enjoyed it too. Shinsho smiled. In the spectator box, Rimuru observed, I'm glad to know that fight didn't ruin their friendship. But since she won that round, her next opponent will be Lion Mask, aka Carrion. Should we ask her to forfeit? Shizue asked, worried. This is a demon lord seed she's about to fight. Let her fight for a few minutes, Rimuru suggested. Once she's had enough, we'll signal Suka, okay? Alright, Shizue agreed. With that, the first round of the tournament came to an end. Chapter 94 Tournament Part 2. After 3 hours of rest, the second round of the tournament was about to begin. Match arrangements. Masayuki vs. Gobta. Shinsho vs. Lion Mask. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Suka shouted to the crowd. It's time for the second round, so let us welcome Gobta and Masayuki. Both Gobta and Masayuki entered the ring, and the crowd erupted in cheers for Masayuki. And begin! Suka called out. Gobta charged straight at him, but backed up the instant he locked eyes with Masayuki. Sweat poured down Masayuki's face. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? He panicked internally. Looks like I'll have to use my newfound skill, Gobta declared. With that, he activated a skill that fused him and Ronga together into a giant wolf-man creature. Without waiting, he dashed straight toward Masayuki, only to miss him completely, smash face first into the arena wall, and knock himself unconscious. Rimuru sighed heavily. When he said a new skill, I knew this was going to happen. Indeed, Benimaru agreed. Using a new skill like that without first understanding it is just plain unprofessional. And he's supposed to be a herald candidate. Azrael scoffed. Don't start with me, Azrael. It wasn't one of my best choices, Rimuru grumbled. Hakuru stroked his beard. It would seem I have been too easy on him. I won't let that happen again. That's right. So let me train him. Milim laughed excitedly. After showing off such a cool transformation only to still lose, I'll be sure to whip him into shape. Good luck, Gobta. Rimuru prayed silently. The winner of round 1 was Masayuki. Now that the first match is complete, let us welcome our next fighters, Lion Mask and our nation's princess, Shinsho. Suka announced. Lion Mask had already entered the ring, leaving only Shinsho, who had not arrived yet. Shizue, let's go see our daughter before she goes out into the ring, Rimuru said. Okay, let's go, Shizue nodded. The two went to the waiting room to see Shinsho before she stepped onto the stage. Shinsho, are you ready to face him? Rimuru asked softly. To be honest, I'm a bit scared, Shinsho admitted. If you're scared, you can just forfeit, Shizue said lovingly. There's no need for you to go through all this trouble. No. I want to see how strong I am compared to a demon lord seed like Carrion. I mean, Lion Mask, Shinsho corrected herself. So you knew, Rimuru smiled. Yes. And I will fight. Shinsho, Shizue said in a worried tone. Then don't just stand here, my little angel, Rimuru encouraged her. Go out there and show him how strong you are. Right. And I intend to win, Shinsho declared. With that, Shinsho stepped out onto the ring, and their match began. Chapter 95 Tournament Part 3. Lion Mask and Shinsho stood across from each other, waiting for the other side to make the first move. Listen, Princess, Lion Mask spoke up. I know you are strong, but you aren't a match for me. So why don't you forfeit? Because I want to test my strength against you, Shinsho replied firmly. And I intend on winning, so be ready. Bold words. I like it. Lion Mask grinned. Very well, let us begin. The fight began with both of them exchanging heavy blows. Shinsho was smaller and faster, but a few direct hits from Lion Mask could easily knock her out. She kept her distance, striking quickly at the openings in Lion Mask's defenses, though he barely seemed to feel them. Nothing more than mosquito bites, Lion Mask chuckled. Shinsho continued to strike back, but she was slowly growing tired. A brief opening allowed Lion Mask to pin her down. Had enough? Lion Mask asked. Not even close. Jail shake. Shinsho yelled. Her jail shake managed to trap Lion Mask in his tracks, but he was far too powerful. He flexed and broke free from the skill, creating a shockwave that blew Shinsho back to the very edge of the ring. You can't beat me, kid. Plus, you're out of tricks, Lion Mask said confidently. Shinsho stood still on the edge of the ring and closed her eyes. Is she surrendering? Lion Mask thought. Just as Suka was about to call the match, Shinsho slowly raised her hand toward the sky. Magicules from all around the area began to gather rapidly in her palm. She opened her eyes, staring straight at Lion Mask. What is she doing? Why do I have a bad feeling about this? Lion Mask panicked internally. I've been secretly practicing this skill ever since I saw Milim use it, Shinsho announced. And I have made my very own version. In the audience, Milim's eye sparkled. A skill based on one of mine. Wait, could it be? Looks like I need to put up a barrier, Rimuru muttered. Raphael. Understood. Deploying barrier now. Take this. Shinsho roared. Tempest Buster. She unleashed her new attack, sending a massive torrent of wind and lightning magic straight at Lion Mask. He threw up his arms to shield himself. The moment the attack hit him, an explosive shockwave erupted. Luckily, Rimuru had put up the barrier, or it would have been a complete disaster for the audience. Up on the VIP balcony, Class S cheered, "You can do it, Shinsho. Just hang in there." "Go, Princess, go," the executives shouted. "Go Shinsho!" Rimuru and Shizue yelled together. Back in the ring, the attack lasted for quite some time before the smoke slowly began to clear. Shinsho was on her knees at the edge of the ring, panting heavily. Lion Mask could be seen standing tall, seemingly without breaking a sweat. Damn it! So I lost, huh? Shinsho thought bitterly. Just as she was about to raise her hand to surrender, Lion Mask spoke up. Well done, kid. You defeated me. Who? Shinsho blinked. When the smoke fully cleared from his feet, everyone saw that he was standing completely outside the ring. The winner of round 2 is Shinsho. Suka declared. I won. I won. Shinsho cheered. Everyone on the balcony erupted into applause for her victory. I won. I whoa. Shinsho mumbled as her eyes fluttered shut. She lost consciousness and began falling forward, but Rimuru instantly appeared and caught her. You did so well out there today, my little angel, Rimuru whispered softly. Mama and I are so proud of you. Shinsho fell sound asleep in his arms as the semi-final match officially came to an end. Chapter 96 Before the finals. It was getting late, so the final match of the tournament was rescheduled for the following morning. Everyone headed to the dining hall for dinner, while Rimuru and his inner circle gathered in his office. Shinsho was sleeping soundly on the couch, resting her head on Shizu's lap. Princess Shinsho was absolutely great out there. Shin gushed. I know, right? Milim agreed loudly. She even created a skill based on my Drago Buster. It was so cool, unlike Gobta here. Sorry for being such a disappointment. Gobta whined from the corner. She possesses incredible talent for her age, Hakuru complimented. She's even better than the young master was when he was little. Benimaru hung his head. I feel so ashamed. Don't be down, my boy, Sue's mother, Sakura, comforted him. Princess Shinsho is just built differently, that's all. Even so. Benimaru sighed. A pity Diawolo and the other demonesses aren't here to see this, as Rail noted. We can tell them all about it when they're done demon hunting, Rimuru said. Now, we need to discuss our money problem. King Gazelle should be arriving any moment. Right on cue, Gazelle entered the room. He explained that he was only able to bring a little over 1,500 gold coins, which was still a few coins short of what they needed. Just then, a knock sounded at the door, and Elmesia stepped inside. Sorry, I just let myself in, Elmesia smiled. What brings the Empress of Thalion here? Rimuru asked, surprised. It would seem you are facing a shortage of gold coins, Elmesia replied smoothly. In that case, perhaps I could make up the difference. Just as Rimuru opened his mouth to politely decline, Gazelle interjected, Rimuru, just let her help. Trust me, she won't take no for an answer. Thank you for saying such kind words about me, Gazelle boy, Elmesia teased. Please stop treating me like a child, Gazelle groaned. Hearing that, Rimuru reluctantly accepted her aid, securing the remaining coins needed to pay off the merchants. In exchange, Elmesia asked Rimuru to invite her to future events like this and requested an introduction to Mr. Yoshida, to which Rimuru agreed. I'll be taking my leave now, boys, Elmesia said with a wave as she stepped out. I should be leaving too, Gazelle added. Big day for your daughter tomorrow. I know. Thanks, Gazelle, Rimuru nodded. After Gazelle left, Shinsho slowly stirred and opened her eyes. My baby girl is awake, Shizu smiled warmly. How are you feeling? Rimuru asked. Sleepy, and excited too. Shinsho beamed. I beat Carrion. You sure did, Rimuru chuckled. But still, if it were a real fight to the death, I would have lost, Shinsho said, her face turning serious. I have to get stronger. Shinsho stood up and walked straight toward Hakuru. Grandpa Hakuru. I want to get stronger. Can you train me even harder from now on? She asked, her eyes burning with determination. Hakuru stared at her, seeing the fiery passion in her eyes. Very well, my princess. Just don't regret it later. I won't. Shinsho declared. She has more guts than you did when you were little, young master, Hakuru chuckled, glancing at Benimaru. Now I feel very ashamed of myself. Benimaru muttered. Shinsho, you shouldn't push yourself too hard, Shizu gently reminded her. Your mother is right, Rimuru agreed. You should rest until the festival and our wedding are over, okay? Okay. I can wait. Shinsho nodded. Then let's all go back and rest for tomorrow, Rimuru said. Understood, everyone responded in unison. Side story greed takes over. After the preliminary matches in Tempest, Maria Bell walked toward the restroom. Glenda, one of her puppets, appeared out of the shadows and informed her that her grandfather requested her immediate return, so she complied. My sweet Maria Bell, how was the festival in Tempest? Granbell asked. Very amusing, Maria Bell replied coolly. I even befriended Demon Lord Rimuru's daughter. I see. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer, not a bad move, Gran Bell nodded approvingly. Thank you, grandfather. I shall be in my room now. Go. Rest as much as you like. Maria Bell left the meeting room and went to her quarters, accompanied by Glenda. She stood by the window for a while, gazing outside, before walking over to a crystal ball sitting on her desk. She used it to spy on the Tempest founding festival and saw that Shinsho was fighting in the arena. She sure is strong, Maria Bell muttered. Indeed, Maria Bell-sama, Glenda added. Maria Bell spun around. Who said you could watch? Ah. Forgive me. I will step back. Glenda gasped, bowing frantically. Maria Bell sighed softly. No, it's fine. Just stay. Why yes. Glenda stammered. That's weird. She normally doesn't act like this. Maria Bell continued watching. When she saw Shinsho win the first round, a small, genuine smile appeared on her face. Glenda's eyes widened. No way. Is she smiling? And it's not her usual fake smile either. What is going on? As they kept watching, they saw Shinsho being backed into a corner by Lion Mask. When Shinsho was nearly pushed off the edge of the ring, Maria Bell instinctively stood up from her chair without realizing it. Why did I just do that? Maria Bell thought, bewildered by her own reaction. Through the crystal ball, she saw Shinsho unleash a powerful attack at Lion Mask. Smoke covered the arena floor, making it impossible to see the outcome. Maria Bell unconsciously clenched her hands into tight fists. When the smoke finally cleared and showed that Shinsho had won, Maria Bell let out a breath and sat back down in relief. Phew. So she won. That's good, Maria Bell murmured. Are you okay, Maria Bell-sama? Glenda asked nervously. Before Maria Bell could answer, her deadly skill, greed, suddenly activated. A thick, dark cloud erupted from within her and enveloped most of her body. What the? What is happening? Ah! Maria Bell screamed in agony. Maria Bell-sama! Glenda cried out. When the dark cloud finally dissipated, Maria Bell stood completely motionless. Maria Bell-sama. Glenda whispered hesitantly. Maria Bell slowly turned her head. Her eyes glowed with an eerie, dark purple light as she glared at her subordinate. Who said you could stand here? Maria Bell hissed coldly. Do you wish to die? Terrified by the sudden malicious aura, Glenda scrambled backward and ran out of the room, leaving Maria Bell alone. It would seem I am slowly losing my edge, Maria Bell whispered to herself, a sinister smile creeping onto her face. I must get rid of the Demon Lord before that happens. Just like that, her dark side completely suppressed her good side once again. Chapter 97 Tournament Finals. The final match of the martial arts tournament was about to begin, and almost everyone was present, leaving only the two fighters. Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the final match of the tournament, featuring Masayuki against Princess Shinsho. Suka announced. Many people cheered for Masayuki, but the monster's cheers for Shinsho were even louder. The two fighters stepped up to the ring. Shinsho was ready, but Masayuki was sweating profusely. Crap! 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 I thought Lion Mask was the strongest. This girl is going to destroy me. Masayuki panicked internally. He seems uncomfortable, and he isn't like the rumors say he is, Shinsho observed. He's just an ordinary guy who ended up with the title. Now I feel bad for him. All right then. Without any delay, let the fight beg, Suka started. Wait! Shinsho shouted. Suka stopped immediately. Hero Masayuki, I have a proposition for you, if you'll hear it, Shinsho said. Sure, I'll hear it, Masayuki replied, thinking, at least I won't die just yet. Shinsho pulled two wooden swords from her stomach storage and threw one toward Masayuki. If you would like, let's have a kendo match, Shinsho offered. The first person who gets 5 hits wins. Deal. All right, it's a deal. Masayuki agreed, relieved. This is much better than fighting with real swords. Why would I decline? Masayuki picked up the wooden sword, and they both took a kendo fighting stance. When Suka gave the signal, the match began. A few minutes passed, and Shinsho won the match 5-3 points, which caused some of the people who favored Masayuki to feel bitter. Sorry, guys, but I am not winning this tournament just to fight the Demon Lord, Masayuki thought. He threw the match on purpose, Shinsho realized. Just as Masayuki was leaving the stage, some members of the audience started talking. Wait! I get it now, one spectator exclaimed. What? Another asked. This must be Masayuki's way of giving the Demon Lord a reprieve, the first spectator claimed. Really? You know what? You must be right. That has to be it, a third agreed. The people who cheered for Masayuki started spouting theories that made him stand out like a true hero, but Rimuru and his executives found it a bit annoying. The guy really has it rough, huh? Rimuru sighed. Should we go talk to him? Shizue asked. That may be for the best, Rimuru agreed. Rimuru invited Masayuki to his office along with Shizue. The three ate sushi while they talked about their origins as Japanese transmigrants. Rimuru-sama, Shizue-sama, please make me your servant, Masayuki pleaded. Ah. What? Both Rimuru and Shizue blurted out. Masayuki explained how his skill, chosen one, had been a constant source of trouble for him. Feeling bad for him, they accepted his request to join their ranks. They told Masayuki that he could start by participating in their dungeon run the next day as a mascot, to which he readily agreed. Chapter 98 Dungeon Run. On the third day of the festival, it was time to introduce the dungeon to everyone by having a few groups enter as beta testers. Good morning, everyone. Today is the day Tempest reveals its main attraction, the dungeon, Suka announced over the speakers. The crowd cheered wildly. And here are the participating teams, Suka declared. Team 1, Team Great Lightning. Team 2, Caval's Party. Team 3, Team Light Speed. Team 4, Team SSPN. These 4 teams will have 30 minutes to run through the dungeon, defeat monsters, and collect items. Now I shall explain the items you can buy at the counter, Suka explained. Suka and Murmel detailed the tools available for purchase before entering the dungeon. Once they finished, the beta test officially began. Let's go, Team SSPN. Shinsho cheered. Yeah! Trinity yelled. The teams entered and went their separate ways. Caval's Party was avoiding traps with suspiciously perfect timing. Meanwhile, Team Great Lightning fell into a trap on the very first floor. Rimuru glared at Ramiris. Hey, Ramiris! Why are there traps on the first floor? Well, you see. I just thought you forgot to put them there, Ramiris stammered. How many did you put? Rimuru asked, his voice dropping. About 50? You idiot! You just gave them shortcuts. Rimuru yelled. Sorry. 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 Ramiris squeaked. Back on the broadcast screens, Masayuki's team accidentally triggered several trap doors, which unexpectedly plummeted them straight down to the 5th floor. Meanwhile, Team SSPN crushed every monster in their path, rapidly approaching the 4th floor. Most teams found bronze and silver chests containing decent items. Team Great Lightning kept dying and respawning, while Caval's Party moved toward a remarkably familiar location. Oh, it would seem Caval's Party is heading straight for a floor boss room, Murmel noted. Floor boss? Is that another way to obtain a gold chest? Suka asked. Indeed, Murmel confirmed. Ramiris. You leaked the floor boss location to Ellen, didn't you? Rimuru shouted, banging on the cup Ramiris was hiding inside. Sorry. 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 Ramiris squealed. You have to admit, it was a smart move, Shiju chuckled gently. Don't encourage her, dear, Rimuru sighed. More and more spectators grew interested in the dungeon, especially the adventurers. Team SSPN encountered a floor boss on the 7th floor and defeated it easily. Team Lightspeed reached the 10th floor boss room, where they faced a giant spider. Jinrai defeated the boss with a single powerful punch. When the 30 minutes expired, all participants were safely teleported out of the dungeon, marking the end of the beta test. I'd say the test was a big success, Shiju remarked. Agreed, Rimuru nodded. All that's left is to enjoy the rest of the festival, until we have to deal with those merchants. Which won't be a problem, Shiju smiled. Indeed. They enjoyed the remaining hours of the festival, awaiting the next day when their opponents would learn what happens when someone tries to cross Tempest. Chapter 99 Crisis Averted. After the visiting nobles returned to their domains, only the merchants remained in Tempest. They gathered in a private room where Murmel was trying to calm them down. Listen, everyone. We promised to pay you, so please wait just a few more minutes. Murmel reasoned. We waited for you until the end of the festival, the first merchant yelled. Yeah. We deserve our due in dwarven gold coins, the second merchant demanded. The merchants refused to compromise until a new voice interrupted. Now, everyone, let's not be mean to the poor man. I, Muse, shall help handle this, a man announced as he stepped forward. So this is the guy who wants to force us into owing him a favor, huh? Well, you're in for a surprise, Murmel thought to himself. Muse claimed he was willing to resolve the issue personally. At that exact moment, Rimuru entered the room accompanied by his executives, carrying a tray filled with genuine dwarven gold coins. The merchants and Muse froze in shock. No way. Are those really dwarven gold coins? Muse gasped. Do you take us for liars? Shen demanded, stepping forward. No. I mean no offense. Muse stammered. Rimuru invited them to verify the coins. Moments later, Sakura and Shuna led a group of reporters into the room, making it impossible for Muse to manipulate the situation. One by one, the merchants received their payments in full. As they began to bring up future business deals, Rimuru cut them off cold. You will no longer be allowed to trade in Tempest, Rimuru stated firmly. What? Why not? The first merchant shouted. You paid us back in full, so there shouldn't be any more problems. I will not do business with people I cannot trust, Rimuru replied calmly. You can't do that, the second merchant protested. You demanded dwarven gold and refused every alternative payment method we offered, Rimuru explained. Trust requires mutual agreement, not one side dictating terms to the other. His words silenced the room. Your Majesty Rimuru, wait. Let's not decide too quickly. Muse pleaded, stepping in. I can help you secure a seat on the Council of the West. I doubt that, Rimuru countered. You've already lost your standing. Once these reporters publish what happened here today, what do you think will happen to you? Muse collapsed onto the floor in complete despair. Murmel, I'll leave the rest to you, Rimuru said. Understood, Rimuru-sama, Murmel replied. The merchants desperately begged Rimuru for forgiveness, but he walked out of the room, leaving Murmel to settle the remaining details. Outside the mansion, Rimuru smiled. The plan was a big success. Indeed. Those merchants will never try to betray us again, Murmel agreed. Is there anything else you wanted to discuss? Rimuru asked the gathered leaders. King Gazelle spoke up first, sternly lecturing Rimuru about displaying live monitor screens during the festival, warning that such technology could fundamentally change the nature of warfare. Next, Empress Elmesia brought up the Magitrain, expressing her desire to extend the railway line directly to Sarian. Other foreign representatives requested connections to their own nations as well, and the group agreed that Bloomond would serve as the central hub. Veldora complained about wanting to fight opponents inside the dungeon, while Hinata formally requested permission for her holy knights to train inside it, which Rimuru granted. Now that that's settled, I would like to discuss one more matter with you all, the Eastern merchants, Rimuru stated. The leaders shared their knowledge regarding the Eastern merchants, with several confirming they had already severed ties with them. Afterward, the guests retired to their quarters, while Rimuru held a final briefing with his executives. There's no doubt about it now. Yuki is the traitor, Rimuru declared. What should we do? Shuna asked. I'll figure out a way to deal with him later, Rimuru answered. Of course, as Rail nodded. Especially since your wedding is in just 4 days. Yeah, there's that too, Rimuru smiled warmly. I want everyone to stay alert around Yuki, okay? Understood, the executives replied in unison. With the festival concluded, everyone turned their attention toward Rimuru and Shishu's upcoming wedding. Chapter 100 Wedding Preparation. With the founding festival officially over, preparations for Rimuru and Shishu's wedding moved into full swing, with the entire town working tirelessly. Well, my love, in just 3 more days, we shall be married, Rimuru said gently. I can't wait. Shishu replied excitedly. I bet Shinsho and Milim are eager to carry out their roles as flower girls, Rimuru chuckled. I'm sure they are, Shishu agreed. Speaking of roles, Adalman will serve as the officiant, Veldora and Velzad are our best man and maid of honor, and we have extra guards patrolling the town. Is there anything we missed? Rimuru asked. Someone to paint a portrait of us in our wedding attire, maybe. Shishu suggested. Good idea, but who could do it? Rimuru pondered. Just then, Velzad and Rain stepped into the office. Hey, you two! Excited for your big day in 3 days. Velzad greeted them. Choram. What brings you here, big sister? Rimuru asked. I came to ask if you found someone to paint your wedding portrait yet, Velzad smiled. No, not yet. Do you have someone in mind? Shishu asked. She's standing right beside me, Velzad replied, gesturing to Rain. Rain. Rimuru and Shishu said together. Rain presented several of her past paintings. Rimuru and Shishu examined the artwork, genuinely impressed by her skill. I would be honored if you would allow me to paint your portrait, Rain said with a polite bow. All right. You've got the job. Rimuru accepted. We're counting on you, Shishu added. I will do my very best to live up to your expectations, Rain promised. Thank you, Rimuru smiled. Velzad leaned in toward Rain with a chilly smile. Rain, you had better not ruin my brother's wedding portrait with Shishu, or I might have to punish you. Why yes, Velzad-sama. Rain squeaked, sweating nervously. Well then, I shall be going now. I have to pick out the perfect dress to wear. Bye-bye. Velzad said cheerfully before exiting with Rain. I just remembered something, Rimuru said, turning to Shishu. What is it? Diablo and the 3 demonesses are still recruiting in the demon realm. I wonder if they're finished yet? I should call him. Go ahead, Shishu nodded. Rimuru established a telepathic link with Diablo for an update. Diablo, how is the recruitment going? Rimuru asked. It is going exceptionally well, Rimuru-sama. We have recruited nearly 1,100 demons, Diablo reported smoothly. That's a massive number. Rimuru gasped. Is there a specific reason you contacted me, Rimuru-sama? Just letting you know that my wedding with Shishu takes place in 3 days. I see. Then I shall return immediately with our forces, Diablo declared. I suppose I can spend some time naming them when you return, Rimuru mused. Understood, Rimuru-sama. Diablo replied before ending the call. Rimuru sighed dramatically. Guess I'll be naming 1,000 demons before the big day. Just don't overdo it, okay? Shishu reminded him softly. I promise, Rimuru smiled. Chapter 101 Demon Army. A day passed, and the town shifted from festival decorations to an elegant wedding venue. Diawolo and the 3 demonesses returned to Tempest with approximately 1,100 demons in tow. We have returned, Rimuru-sama, Diawolo announced, bowing deep. I am sure you will be pleased with our work, Testarossa added smoothly. It was easy, Carrera shrugged. No big deal at all, Ultima giggled. Right. Let's go to the dungeon to assign them their new physical bodies, Rimuru said. Understood. They proceeded to the 100th floor of the dungeon, where Diawolo commanded the demons to manifest. A massive horde of demons emerged from the shadows, dropping to their knees before Rimuru. Not bad. They're all powerful, I can tell. But? Rimuru paused, squinting at the crowd. Is something wrong, Rimuru-sama? Diawolo asked. Why does that specific demon look like he's been beaten half to death multiple times? Rimuru pointed out. Diawolo explained that the demon belonged to his direct lineage and frequently challenged him to prove his strength. He's got guts, I'll give him that, Rimuru admitted. Just then, Shizu, Shinsho, Veldora, and Ramiris entered the floor. Well, look at all these demons. Veldora boomed. They all look so strong. Ramiris exclaimed. Diawolo wasn't kidding when he said he recruited around 1,100 of them, Shizu observed. They look so cool. Shinsho cheered. Shinsho walked up to the beat-up demon, pulled out some bandages, and began wrapping his wounds gently. There. Good as new, hee. Shinsho smiled sweetly. My daughter is so sweet and kind. Rimuru thought, brimming with fatherly pride. That might have been a bad move on his part, Veldora noted internally. This isn't actually helping my injuries, but it would be terrible to be rude to the princess, the beat-up demon realized nervously. Thank you for the bandages, princess, the beat-up demon said respectfully. You're welcome. Shinsho beamed, walking back to Shizu's side. Immediately, the higher demons directed terrifying glares toward the injured demon. Kufufu. To think the princess would personally bandage your wounds. How I envy you, Diawolo purred dangerously. I must admit, I am quite jealous as well, Testarossa murmured, poking the demon's head with a sharp finger. Must be nice, who? Carrera sneered, throwing an arm heavily over his neck. How does it feel? Ultima asked, grabbing him firmly by the collar. Surely you all jest, the demon stammered, breaking into a heavy cold sweat. All right, that's enough, Rimuru interrupted. Let's get you all into your new bodies. Yes, Rimuru-sama, the demons responded in unison. Saved. The beat-up demon sighed in relief. We shall continue this chat later, Diawolo and the 3 demonesses thought in unison. I hope they aren't too hard on him, Rimuru prayed silently. Rimuru incarnated the demons into physical vessels and bestowed names upon them all, officially birthing Tempest's elite core, the Black Numbers. Chapter 102 Family Time. With 2 days remaining before the wedding, Rimuru and his family spent the day relaxing together on the 100th floor. So, what should we do? Anyone up for shogi? Veldora asked, setting up a board. I rarely play childish games, but I suppose I can make an exception today, Velzad replied calmly. Come on, Cheris, join us. Veldora called out. Cheris, formerly Ifrit before being renamed by Veldora, nodded respectfully. Understood, Veldora-sama. Are there any other fun games to play, Papa? Shinsho asked. Nothing comes to mind at the moment, Rimuru admitted. I have a suggestion, Shizu offered. What is it? Milim asked, leaning in. We could hold a family tournament with various mini-games, Shizu proposed. What kind of games? Shinsho inquired. I know. How about these? Rimuru suggested. Using thought acceleration, Rimuru shared memory fragments of various recreational party games. Shinsho and Milim's eyes lit up with excitement. Those look like so much fun. Shinsho cheered. Let's play right now. Milim demanded. All right, but whoever loses gets a penalty, Rimuru declared. Deal. Shinsho and Milim shouted together. The first game was red light, green light, with Cheris acting as the judge. Red light. Cheris called out. Milim sprinted recklessly across the field, expecting her raw speed to carry her through, but she failed to freeze in time when Cheris turned around. Penalty, buried in the dirt up to her neck for 1 hour. The second game involved carving intricate honeycombs. Veldora grew impatient, snapped his honeycomb in half, and failed instantly. Velzad requested permission to administer his penalty. Veldora, your penalty is a direct slap from me, Velzad smiled pleasantly. Rimuru, save me, please. Veldora screamed as he was dragged away. The third game was tug of war, Team Rimuru versus Team Velzad. Both sides pulled with tremendous force until the rope snapped clean in half, resulting in a draw with no penalties awarded. The fourth game was hide and seek, with Cheris as the seeker. Shizue was found first, while Shinsho remained hidden until the very end. Shizue had intentionally allowed herself to be caught early to draw Cheris away from Shinsho's hiding spot. Penalty, wearing messy, absurd party makeup. I look ridiculous. Shizue giggled, looking in a mirror. You're still beautiful to me, Rimuru smiled warmly. Thanks, hubby, Shizue blushed. The final event was a classic sumo wrestling tournament, Team Rimuru vs Team Velzad. Match 1, Veldora vs Rimuru. Match 2, Velzad vs Shizue. Match 3, Milim vs Shinsho. Rimuru used Veldora's momentum against him to throw him out of the ring. Velzad easily overpowered Shizue to tie the score. In the final round, Shinsho successfully bribed Milim with sweets into forfeiting, securing the overall victory for Team Rimuru. Penalty, wearing maid and butler outfits while serving the winners for the remainder of the evening. With plenty of laughter, the second day came to a cozy close. Chapter 103 Wedding Time. The wedding day finally arrived. Rimuru and Shizue went to their respective dressing rooms to put on their formal attire. Outside the mansion, a grand stage was set up in the vast garden where guests had gathered. A Dalman waited at the altar as the final attendees took their seats. Behind the entrance doors, the wedding party made their final preparations. Feeling nervous, you too? Velzad asked softly. Yeah, a little, Rimuru admitted, adjusting his collar. I can hardly believe this day is finally here, Shizue whispered, smiling brightly. You two will do great. We believe in you. Veldora grinned, giving 2 thumbs up. We're ready. Milim declared. Papa, Mama, you look amazing, Shinsho beamed. The family shared a warm moment before Rimuru nodded. All right. Let's do this. The heavy doors swung open, revealing Rimuru and Shizue in their wedding clothes. Veldora escorted Rimuru down the aisle while Velzad walked alongside Shizue. Milim and Shinsho led the procession, tossing flower petals from small baskets. The audience erupted into warm applause as the couple reached the altar. A Dalman raised his hands, silencing the crowd. Today, we gather in the presence of something truly divine, a union blessed by fate itself, a Dalman announced, his voice echoing clearly across the garden. Our esteemed ruler, Rimuru Tempest, is about to be joined in marriage to his beloved, Shizue Aizawa. The crowd applauded enthusiastically. Rimuru Tempest, do you take Shizue Aizawa to be your eternal partner, to stand by her side, to support her growth, and to honor her soul for as long as you both shall live? I do, Rimuru answered firmly. Shizue Aizawa, do you take Rimuru Tempest to be your eternal partner, to stand by his side, to support his growth, and to honor his soul for as long as you both shall live? I do, Shizue replied, her voice filled with emotion. Then by the authority vested in me, I pronounce you husband and wife, King and Queen of Tempest. May no force tear your bond apart. You may now seal this covenant with a kiss. Rimuru drew Shizue close and kissed her, sealing their vows before the entire nation. Cheers and thunderous applause echoed throughout the capital. They did it! Veldora cheered. Truly beautiful, Velzad wiped away a small tear. That's my bestie! Milim shouted excitedly. Yay! Papa and Mama are married. Shinsho celebrated. The historical event marked a new era for the Federation. Chapter 104 After Party. Following the ceremony, the guests moved into the grand banquet hall for the reception, presenting their gifts and gathering for the cutting of a multi-tiered wedding cake prepared by Mr. Yoshida. I must admit, this is the finest event I have ever attended, Empress Elmesia remarked, sipping her drink. The atmosphere, the hospitality, and the cuisine are unmatched. I am thoroughly enjoying myself as well, King Gazelle agreed. I hope our wedding is just as wonderful. Wouldn't you agree, Njuran? Yume asked, holding her hand. Yes, that would be lovely, Njuran smiled warmly. Viscount Kazakh will weep in his cell when I tell him about all this, Fuse chuckled to himself. Friends, family, and foreign dignitaries celebrated together as night fell. The gathering transitioned into the ballroom, where Baton and his orchestra began playing a slow, harmonic waltz. May I have this dance? Rimuru asked, extending a hand to Shizue. Of course, Shizue accepted, taking his hand with a radiant smile. The couple moved to the center of the dance floor. Their fluid, elegant movements captivated everyone in the room. May I have this dance as well? Yume asked Njuran. Yes, you may, she replied softly. Yume and Njuran joined them on the dance floor, and soon other couples followed. After several songs, Rimuru and Shizue stepped to the side to grab refreshments and watch the crowd. Nearby, Momiji and Albus were engaged in a fierce squabble over who got to dance with Benimaru first. Those two are going to tear him in half at this rate, Rimuru chuckled. To their left, Sue was being pulled in two directions at once, Suka on one side, and the female knight he had fought during Hinata's visit on the other. Guess Benimaru isn't the only one with two women competing for his attention, Shizue laughed quietly. I hope those two survive the night, Rimuru teased. Scanning the room, their eyes landed on Azrael and Testarossa, who were gliding across the floor with breathtaking grace. Wow, I didn't realize Azrael was such a good dancer. Rimuru admitted. They make a striking pair, Shizue agreed. At least until Obra shows up down the line, Rimuru noted slyly. I'm sure Azrael will understand what Benimaru and Sue are going through once she arrives, Shizue chuckled softly. Elmesia walked up to the newlyweds, holding a glass of wine. You two put together a wonderful wedding today. Thank you, Elmesia, Rimuru and Shizue replied in unison. I must ask, where do you plan to go for your honeymoon? Elmesia inquired. We haven't chosen a location yet, Rimuru admitted. In that case, I have a fantastic recommendation for you. Let's discuss it after the party wraps up, shall we? Elmesia suggested with a wink. Sounds like a plan, Rimuru agreed. Elmesia gave a polite nod and glided back toward the rest of the guests. I wonder what kind of place she has in mind. Shizue mused. Only one way to find out, Rimuru smiled, gently wrapping his arm around her waist as they returned to their guests to enjoy the rest of the evening. Chapter 105 Plans for the Honeymoon and Family Vacation. After the party, all the guests went back to their nations while Rain painted a portrait of Rimuru and Shizue. Once that was done, they all went to the meeting room where Elmesia was waiting to discuss the place for their honeymoon. So, Elmesia, what place is this recommendation of yours? Rimuru asked. It's a resort island that I own, Elmesia replied. A resort island, who? Sounds like the perfect place for our honeymoon, Shizue said. Sure does, Rimuru agreed. I want to go. I want to go. I want to go. Shinsho cheered. Me too. Me too. Milim added. Don't forget about me. Veldora chimed in. You won't forget me, right, little brother? Velzad smiled. Well, that's Tim. Rimuru stammered. It's fine if they want to join. They can go in one direction while we go in the other, Shizu suggested softly. That could work. All right then, let's get ready for a family vacation. Rimuru declared. Why, everyone cheered. Elmesia returned home to Sarian, and they all went back to pack up their things, preparing to leave for the island in 1 week. That night in their room, Shizu looked at Rimuru. It's so nice of Elmesia to recommend this resort for us. Maybe, Rimuru mused. Uh-oh, I sense a but ye coming, Shizu smiled. I don't know why, but I feel like there is more to this than we thought, Rimuru admitted. You think so? Shizu asked. It's just a hunch. Well, as you would say, only one way to find out. You're right. And if things do turn for the worst, we will deal with it, Rimuru nodded. Since we are all alone. Shizu smiled warmly, resting back on the bed and holding her arms open toward Rimuru. You read my mind, dear, Rimuru smiled back. The two shared a quiet, affectionate night together until they fell asleep. When it was time to leave, Rimuru gathered everyone at the gates. Everyone got your stuff? Yes, everyone shouted. I am truly honored to be traveling with you, Rimuru-sama, Diawolo said, bowing. No need to be dramatic. We are most likely being brought along just to keep an eye on Veldora and Milim, as Rael noted. Even so, I am happy to be here, Diawolo replied smoothly. As Rael quietly shook his head. Oddball. Velzad-sama? Is it okay for me to be here? Rain asked nervously. Of course. You painted a beautiful portrait of them during the after-party. Consider this your reward, and change your clothes, because today you are not a maid, Velzad assured her. Yes. Rain nodded. Rain changed her clothes into a more relaxed vacation outfit. This is going to be the best vacation ever. Shinsho cheered. Chapter 106 Kyan, Part 1. After riding in Sarian's elemental dragon carriage for some time, they finally reached the resort island and landed smoothly. We are here, Elmesia announced. All right, everyone, let's have some fun. Rimuru shouted. Yeah, everyone cheered. They all stepped out of the dragon carriage and walked toward the bustling town. Wow! There are so many people here. Shinsho gasped. So many food stalls. I want to try them all. Milim yelled, her eyes sparkling. Settle down, you two, and don't wander off, Rimuru warned. Oh. Shinsho and Milim pouted together. That's enough of that. Everyone, enjoy yourselves while Rimuru and I have our time together, okay? Shizu smiled. Yes, everyone replied. Will you two keep an eye on them? Rimuru asked. Understood, Diawolo and Azrael replied in unison. With that, they all went their separate ways. Rimuru and Shizu happily strolled through the town, visiting various food stalls along the street. Man, the food here is just delicious, Rimuru said, enjoying a snack. I agree, Shizu smiled. Just then, Rimuru accidentally bumped into someone wearing a large hood that completely covered her head. Oh, sorry, Rimuru apologized. It's fine, Rimuru Tempest, the voice whispered. What? Rimuru blinked. Before he could say another word, the hooded figure turned and sprinted away into the crowd. Rimuru? Shizu asked, walking up beside him. She just said my name. She did? Shizu gasped. Guess my hunch might be onto something after all, Rimuru sighed. You think we'll run into her again? No doubt about it, but let me just get back to our fun for now, okay? Let's, Shizu agreed. They continued exploring the town, eventually coming across a scenic cave marked as the Cave of Love. They enjoyed the peaceful ride inside, and once it ended, they headed back toward the main district to grab another bite to eat. Suddenly, a loud explosion echoed through the streets. Boom! What was that? Rimuru called out. Sounds like trouble. Shishu exclaimed. Rimuru activated Soul Search to investigate the source of the noise. Through his perception, he spotted the same hooded woman from earlier being chased by men in dark, flowing robes. It's her again, Rimuru noted. She's in trouble. Shishu said. So much for a peaceful honeymoon. Let's go, Rimuru said, darting forward. They rushed toward the woman's location to assist her. If this is the reason why Elmesia recommended this place, then I am going to have a very long chat with her later, Rimuru thought to himself. Chapter 107 Kion, Part 2. The hooded woman had been cornered and was on the verge of being dragged away, but Rimuru and Shishu arrived just in time to intervene. Are you all right? Shishu asked, rushing to her side. Yes. Thank you, the woman replied softly. Thank us later. Shishu, take her and find the others. I'll buy you time, Rimuru instructed. All right, come on. Shishu said, taking the woman's hand and leading her safely toward the crowded main street. Don't let her escape, the leader of the robed men yelled. Right, his men responded. They tried to push past Rimuru, but with a swift motion, Rimuru slammed every single one of them hard into the nearby walls. How dare you, the leader bellowed in rage. Don't you know who we are? I am one of Kion's ministers, Zodan. If you know what's good for you, hand that girl over right now, or we will beat you and take her back, even if we have to kill that other woman. That final threat proved to be a fatal mistake. What did you just say? Rimuru growled, his voice dropping an octave. Rimuru unleashed his full demon Lord Haki. The sheer weight of his aura crushed the atmosphere, knocking every single robed henchman instantly unconscious onto the hard ground, leaving only Zodan barely standing, trembling violently. Damn it! He took out all my men with just his aura. I knew he was strong, but this is on a whole other level. I must retreat. Zodan thought, terror seizing him. In an instant, Zodan used a movement skill and vanished from the scene, abandoning his fallen men behind. You can run, but you can't hide forever, Rimuru muttered coldly. Deactivating his Haki, he turned around and headed back to rejoin Shishu, who had gathered the rest of their group at the hotel alongside the hooded woman. They all sat down in a private room to discuss the situation. First off, would you introduce yourself? Rimuru requested gently. Sure. My name is Yura, and I am a shrine maiden of the underwater nation of Kion, the woman replied, lowering her hood. Kion, who? I have heard of it, but I've never gone to visit, Velzad remarked. Is there a reason why you are up here on the surface, Yura? Shishu asked softly. Some of my people are planning to invade the surface, Yura explained sorrowfully. Why? Aren't you and your people safe under the sea? Rimuru asked. Yes, but some time ago, a powerful blast of nuclear magic was launched from somewhere. Even though it was not aimed directly at our city, it still caused significant damage. However, over half a year ago, the blast stopped. That's a good thing, right? Rimuru noted. Yes, but our king feared it might happen again. He asked Geese, one of his ministers, for a solution, and Geese suggested using the power of the Aqua Dragon. Aqua Dragon? That sounds like a powerful creature, Rimuru said. It is an elemental dragon, so I'm sure it's quite formidable, Velzad added. It is also our guardian deity, the one who granted us our kingdom, Yura explained. Interesting. But how do they plan to control its power? Rimuru inquired. Yura reached into her robes and pulled out an intricately carved flute. This is how they can control the dragon. That is why I am here. She stepped forward, dropping gracefully to her knees before Rimuru. "Demon Lord Rimuru, can I entrust you with safeguarding this flute to ensure no one uses it for evil?" Well, this just got a bit out of hand, Rimuru thought, staring at the artifact. Chapter 108 Kyan, Part 3. As Yura presented the flute to Rimuru, he took it gently into his hands and instructed Raphael to analyze it. Report. The flute appears to be directly linked to the individual Yura. Linked? Who? I guess it's not just because she's the Shrine Maiden, is it? Rimuru asked internally. Affirmative. I wonder? Rimuru turned to face Yura. Yura, there's a theory I want to test out. Would you let me appraise you? You may, Yura nodded. Just as Rimuru prepared to analyze her, a small metal canister crashed through the window and hit the floor, instantly bursting into a thick cloud of dense black smoke that blinded everyone in the room. When the smoke finally cleared, Rimuru looked down to find his hand empty, and Yura was nowhere to be seen. Damn it! How did they get in here without us noticing? Rimuru snapped. Well, I have heard they possess a special type of stone in their kingdom. When ground into a fine powder and applied to the body, it makes them nearly impossible to sense, Velzad explained calmly. What do we do, Rimuru? Shishu asked anxiously. We have to save her. But first. Rimuru turned his gaze directly toward Elmesia. You knew about all this, didn't you? Guess you figured it out, Elmesia sighed, crossing her arms. Care to tell us more before we get into even deeper trouble? Rimuru asked. Elmesia thoroughly explained the political tension and the underwater kingdom's movements to the group. I get the gist of it now, but did you really have to send us here during my honeymoon? Rimuru groaned. Sorry, I wasn't thinking straight, Elmesia offered an apologetic smile. Well, what's done is done. Let's just focus on saving Yura, Shishu said, bringing the conversation back to the task at hand. You're right, Rimuru agreed. Suddenly, a resonant mental chime sounded in Rimuru's mind. Report. The Aqua Dragon has awakened and will soon launch an attack at your location. Great! Rimuru said in a thoroughly annoyed tone. Deep below the waves, in the kingdom of Kyan, Yura had been captured and bound, brought directly before Zodan and Jis alongside the recovered flute. You can't do this, Jis. You'll kill all those innocent people. Yura pleaded, struggling against her bindings. I am only doing what's best for the kingdom. And why kingdom? He. Jis chuckled darkly. You monster. And you, Zodan. How could you help him? Yura glared. He and I promised to split the kingdom once we invade the surface with the power of the Aqua Dragon. No one in the world can stop us. Zodan bragged. You two are sick. The king will never approve of this. The king will soon meet his demise. As for you, Yura, if you promise to become our woman, we'll at least let you live a comfortable life, G sneered. I would rather die than marry either of you. Yura spat back. Worth a shot. Tie her up tightly and let her witness our victory. Jis ordered. Jis raised the flute to his lips and began playing a piercing melody. Deep within the trench, the colossal Aqua Dragon awakened from its long slumber, rising through the ocean depths and launching a massive blast of concentrated water magic straight toward the hotel where Rimuru and his friends were staying. Back at the hotel, Rimuru stepped out onto the balcony, looking at the incoming beam of energy. They think that will stop us. Rimuru activated Beelzebub, Lord of Gluttony, opening a wide spatial rift in front of the building that swallowed the entire attack cleanly without a sound. Now it's our turn to attack, Rimuru said, his eyes narrowing. Chapter 109 Kyan, Part 4. When Rimuru swallowed the Aqua Dragon's attack without taking a scratch, Jis assumed it was mere luck. Demanding total control, he mounted the dragon's head directly to command another assault from above the water line. You may be Demon Lord Rimuru Tempest, but even you cannot stand up to the mighty power of the Aqua Dragon. Jis roared. We'll see about that, Rimuru replied smoothly, floating up into the air. Geese played a fast, chaotic melody on the flute, commanding the beast to fire a barrage of pressurized breath attacks. Rimuru glided through the air with ease, dodging every stream and absorbing whatever came too close using Beelzebub. The complete lack of results infuriated Geese, causing him to blow into the instrument with even greater desperation. "Just stay still, you small puddle of slime!" Geese screamed. "You can try as hard as you want, but you still won't hit me," Rimuru taunted softly. "Damn it!" Geese blew into the flute with maximum force, trying to force the dragon into an ultimate move. Suddenly, a hairline crack split down the middle of the artifact, and with a sharp snap, the flute shattered into tiny pieces right in his hands. "What? How? How could this have happened?" Geese gasped in horror. Without the flute controlling its mind, the massive aqua dragon slowly sank back into the depths of the sea, disappearing beneath the waves. "Guess you lost," Rimuru said, levitating right in front of him. "No. Not yet. I will have this kingdom. Zodan." Geese panicked, turning around to call for backup. However, the spot where Zodan had been standing was completely empty. Yura was gone as well. "What? Where did they go?" Geese stammered. "Looks like your friend abandoned you," Rimuru noted. "No. This can't be how it ends." "The kingdom?" Geese babbled. "Prepare to die," Rimuru said coldly. "No. Wait." Rimuru didn't bother waiting. He activated Beelzebub, Lord of Gluttony, consuming Geese whole in an instant. "Now that that's over, let's head down to the kingdom of Kayan and see if we can find Yura," Rimuru said, turning back to his companions. "Right," everyone agreed. Rimuru brought only Shishu, Velzad, and Azrael with him down into the ocean, leaving the rest of their group on the surface to monitor things in case Zodan attempted a counterattack. Within minutes, the small team descended to the kingdom's grand gates. As they entered, local citizens scrambled for cover while a squad of sea guards advanced nervously, clearly terrified of the invaders. "We mean you no harm," Rimuru announced calmly. "We only wish to speak to your king," Shishu added reassuringly. One of the guards hurried back inside to deliver the message. A few minutes later, the group was escorted directly into the throne room. "It is a pleasure to meet you, Demon Lord Rimuru Tempest," King Leet stammered, bowing nervously from his seat. "The pleasure is mine. Now then, could you tell us where Zodan is?" Rimuru asked directly. "Zodan? What would you want him for?" King Leet blinked, confused. "He kidnapped your shrine maiden, Yura, and joined forces with Geese to attack the surface. They were planning to overthrow you and rule the kingdom together," Shishu explained clearly. "What? There's no way that's true." "They have been." King Leet gasped. "You might want to rethink your trust in them," Rimuru advised. But aren't you here to take over our kingdom?" King Leet asked hesitantly. "Take over? Why on earth would I do that?" Rimuru raised an eyebrow. King Leet nervously signaled his advisors, who brought forward two bound individuals from the back room. They claimed to be Demon Lord Rimuru's elite general sent ahead to conquer the city. Rimuru took one look at them and deadpanned. "Seriously? They look absolutely nothing like Benimaru and Sue." Azrael burst into uncontrollable laughter beside him. "Ha ha ha! Man, those two are not going to be happy when they find out about this. Ha ha ha!" Shishu glanced at Azrael, giving him a firm look. "You can stop laughing now." All right, Azrael wheezed, wiping a tear from his eye. Chapter 110 Kayan, Part 5. Rimuru quickly clarified that the two captives were imposter actors and that King Leet had been thoroughly manipulated by Geese and Zodan. "I can't believe I was fooled by those two," King Leet groaned, holding his head in shame. "I can't believe you actually fell for those terrible fake actors," Rimuru thought to himself. "Anyway, can you help us find Yura?" Rimuru asked. Of course. My guards will search every corner of the sea and the kingdom immediately. King Leet pledged. Then we'll return to the surface and see if Zodan is hiding up there, Rimuru decided. As Rimuru and his friends walked down the grand hallway of the castle toward the exit, Rimuru noticed large, detailed murals painted across the high walls and ceilings. These pictures look ancient, Rimuru noted, stopping to admire them. Those paintings detail the entire history of Kayan, how our nation was founded, and the story of our very first shrine maiden, a passing castle servant explained politely. Who? The shrine maiden in this picture looks almost identical to Yura, Rimuru observed, narrowing his eyes. I have noticed that as well, my lord, a second servant added. But how could Yura be her? It makes no logical sense. Yeah, I guess so, Rimuru murmured. Still, it wouldn't hurt to be extra careful. Raphael? Understood. Analyzing the historical murals now. You will have a full answer in a few minutes, master. Take all the time you need, Rimuru thought. They returned to the surface to coordinate their search. Meanwhile, deep within a hidden chamber beneath the ocean floor, Yura was trapped inside a glowing sphere of energy while Zodan completed a complex magical circle on the floor. Whatever it is you're doing, you won't win, Yura said firmly from inside her cell. You saw how easily Geese lost to the Demon Lord, even with the power of the Aqua Dragon. What makes you think you can do any better? Yura, Zodan chuckled darkly. Do you truly think that flute held the true power of the Aqua Dragon? What do you mean? Yura frowned. Geese was merely a useful pawn for me to throw away. But you, my dear, you were my true goal all along. I suppose you didn't know, or perhaps you simply forgot. Who? My sweet Yura, you are the Aqua Dragon. Zodan revealed with a twisted grin. What? No. You're lying. How could I possibly be the Aqua Dragon? Yura gasped, shaking her head. Then allow me to show you, Zodan sneered. Zodan activated the spell circle, forcing the ancient memories of the Aqua Dragon directly into Yura's mind. Flooded with images of her true past, Yura realized the truth. Before she could process the shock, Zodan cast another heavy enchantment, forcing her into a deep sleep. It won't be long now, Yura, Zodan laughed wildly. Once the mind control spell fully takes over your soul, I will have you marry me, and the full, divine power of the Aqua Dragon will belong to me alone. Ha ha ha. Back on the surface, Rimuru regrouped with his companions near the shore. You guys found him yet? Rimuru asked. No, Veldora sighed. Nothing over here, Velzad reported. Not a single sign of him, Milim added, pouting. Where could he be hiding? Rimuru pondered. Report, Raphael's voice echoed in his mind. I have completed the analysis of the historical murals. What is it? The individual Yura and the original Shrine Maiden depicted in the mural share a 100% biological and spiritual match. I knew it. But how is that even possible? Rimuru asked. I have formed a conclusion, Master. The individual Yura is the Aqua Dragon itself, having sealed her own memories into a humanoid form. Great! Things just got a lot more complicated, Rimuru thought. Suddenly, a deafening roar shook the heavens and shattered the ocean's surface. A massive draconic entity broke through the water, rising high into the sky. Oh, come on! Rimuru groaned internally. Chapter 111 Kayan, Part 6. The Aqua Dragon soared high into the air, using its immense gravitational magic to lift the entire sunken city of Kayan completely out of the ocean and onto the surface. Damn it! Zodan is going to wreak havoc on the world with that kind of power. Rimuru shouted. We need to eliminate that man immediately. Velza declared coldly. Agreed. Rimuru, we will handle these Aqua Dragon clones while you go in and rescue Yura. Veldora yelled, powering up his aura. All right. Rimuru nodded. Be careful, Rimuru. Shizue called out. Papa, you better win. Shinsho cheered. I know. I won't lose, Rimuru smiled confidently. Let's get this party started. Milim shouted, charging forward with her fists raised. All of Rimuru's allies scattered to intercept the swarming water clones, while Rimuru shot straight toward the lifted city of Kayan. You think you can stop me, Demon Lord Rimuru? Zodan's voice boomed across the sky. Zodan projected a massive magic screen from his hidden chamber, showing himself standing right beside Yura, who stood frozen in a blank trance. She's completely under his control. Raphael, any ideas? Answer. You could try utilizing Soul Shock to sever the mind control link, but you must get closer to the target for it to work successfully. That won't be a problem. Rimuru activated Soul Search to predict the attack paths of the water clones, weaving effortlessly through their strikes as he sped straight into Kayan's hidden inner sanctum. Blasting through the outer structure, he locked onto Zodan's location. Like I said to you before, you can run, but you can't hide forever. Rimuru shouted. Rimuru instantly unleashed Soul Shock. The wave of spiritual energy hit Zodan directly, causing him to double over in severe disorientation for a few seconds. That momentary lapse broke the mind control hold over Yura. Snapping back to her senses, Yura wound back her leg and delivered a devastating kick directly between Zodan's legs. Crack! Ouch! Zodan shrieked, collapsing onto the ground, clutching himself in sheer agony as the sound of crushed bone echoed through the room. Rimuru sliced a clean exit hole through the wall with a blade of magic. Jump! Yura leapt out without hesitation, and Rimuru caught her mid-air, flying her safely back toward where Shizue and the others were waiting. Yura! You're okay! Shizue smiled in relief. I am, thanks to all of you, Yura said, catching her breath. With Zodan defeated, the Aqua Dragon clones dissolved back into normal water, and the city of Kayan gently sank back down to its original resting place on the ocean floor. Local guards quickly found Zodan groaning on the floor and threw him into a high-security cell. Back inside Kayan's throne room, King Leet bowed deeply before their savior. Thank you, Demon Lord Rimuru, for saving our kingdom, King Leet expressed with deep gratitude. We were all caught up in their ridiculous scheme. Now that they're dealt with, you can all live peacefully again, Rimuru replied warmly. The entire castle erupted into cheers. Rimuru turned toward the shrine maiden. So, what will you do now, Yura? Who? Shizue blinked, confused. You plan on fusing with the Aqua Dragon permanently, right? Rimuru asked softly. Yura nodded solemnly. I am the Aqua Dragon. If this power were to fall into the wrong hands again, it could be catastrophic. Therefore, I shall fuse back into the dragon body and sleep deep beneath the ocean for the rest of my life. Yura, but you'll be all alone. Shizue said sadly. My mind is made up. Though our time together was short, I was happy to have met people I can call true friends, Yura murmured, tears welling in her eyes. Yura? Shizue felt tears coming to her eyes as well. Rimuru hummed, crossing his arms. You know, Yura, maybe there's a way for you to stay as you are, if you're willing to trust me. Who? Yura gasped. Rimuru. Shizue looked at him in surprise. Chapter 112 Kayan, Part 7. Rimuru explained his plan to modify Yura's spiritual structure so she could maintain her humanoid form without risking loss of control over her dragon power. After considering his proposal, Yura willingly agreed. They moved to a private room inside the castle to prepare. Are you ready? Rimuru asked. I am, Yura nodded firmly. Here we go. Understood. Beginning process now, Raphael announced. Rimuru activated Soul Surge alongside Soul Spirit, directing the energy directly into Yura to modify her body and core soul structure, ensuring her power could never be weaponized by anyone else. The delicate process took several days of continuous energy alignment, gradually reaching its climax. Notice. Process will be completed in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A brilliant pillar of golden light enveloped Yura's entire body, and a surging, primordial aura radiated outward through the room. This feels incredible. Yura gasped, looking at her glowing hands. Now you won't ever have to worry about mind control again, Rimuru smiled. Thank you so much. Yura beamed. Congratulations. Shizue cheered happily. Thanks. Yura smiled warmly. Guess that settles it, so we might as well. Rimuru started to say. Before he could finish his sentence, the grand voice of the world resounded clearly within their minds. Notice. Confirmed that the individual Yura has met all conditions and has evolved into the Sea True Dragon. A. Rimuru blinked. A. Shizue gasped. A. Yura stared in shock. EHHHHHHH, everyone in the building shouted. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Did I just accidentally turn Yura into a freaking true dragon? Rimuru screamed internally. It would appear so, Master, Raphael replied matter-of-factly. Man, all I wanted to do was make her stronger so she wouldn't get mind-controlled again. However, now that she is a true dragon, virtually no one in the world will dare threaten her or her kingdom again. I guess that's a good thing, Rimuru sighed in relief. Yura looked at her hands in utter disbelief. To think you would help me evolve into a true dragon just like that. You must be some kind of god. I assure you, I am no god. Rimuru waved his hands frantically. But how else do you explain this? Yura asked. Well, that's Tim. Velzad stepped forward, smiling brightly as she hugged Yura tightly. Oh, forget about all that. Yura is now a new true dragon, which means she is my new little sister. Mine too. Veldora boomed proudly. Rimuru smiled warmly. Well then, Yura, welcome to the family, I guess. Thank you. Yura smiled happily. Velzad patted Yura's head. I do hope you'll be much smarter compared to Veldora. Hey! Veldora protested. And if you ever need any help, just come straight to me, okay? Velzad added sweetly. Okay, Velzad. That's big sister from now on, Velzad corrected gently. Yes, big sister. Yura nodded obediently. Veldora and Rimuru slumped into a corner of the room, dark clouds floating over their heads. Why does she get the nice treatment, while we just get cold stares? Velzad turned back toward the newlyweds. I say we take some time to get to know our new sister, and you, Rimuru, should probably continue your honeymoon with Shizue. You're right, sister. Come on, Shizue, Rimuru smiled. Yes. Shizue giggled. Rimuru lifted Shizue up into a princess carry and flew out of the castle. A few days passed peacefully as they enjoyed the remainder of their trip, while Yura remained behind to serve as the official guardian deity of Kaien. As they prepared to head home, Shizue looked back at the ocean. I hope we can come back here again someday. I hope so too, Rimuru agreed softly. And with that, their eventful honeymoon and family vacation came to a wonderful close. Chapter 113. Back from vacation. Rimuru and the rest of the group returned safely to Tempest from the resort island. As they walked through the vibrant streets of the capital, they immediately noticed that several new developments had taken place while they were away. Their first stop was the main mansion, which looked noticeably larger than before. Did they remodel the mansion while we were away? Rimuru asked, tilting his head. I guess so, Shizue smiled. It's huge now. Shinsho cheered. I want to see the inside. Milim shouted. Me too. Veldora added. Quiet down, you two, Velzad commanded calmly. I should head back to the ice continent now, or the ice might melt in my absence. Milim, you should return to your domain before Fry comes looking for you, and you, little brother, need to get back to work in the dungeon.
Yes.
Veldora and Milim groaned in unison, hanging their heads in disappointment. Back to normal daily life for us, I guess, Rimuru chuckled internally. Stepping inside the mansion, they were greeted by the Kijin going about their daily duties. Rimuru-sama, Shishu-sama, and everyone, welcome back. Shuna greeted them with a bow alongside Sakura. Good to be back, Shishu replied warmly. I see many things have changed while we were away, Rimuru noted. Care to give us the updates? Of course. We can start with this, Shuna smiled, bringing out a covered tray. She lifted the lid to reveal small, beautifully crafted desserts. My latest creation. I hope you all enjoy it, Shuna said proudly. Yummy. Shinsho gasped, taking a bite. So good. Shishu agreed. I could eat this all day. Veldora declared happily. You've outdone yourself, Shuna. Great job. Rimuru praised. Thank you, Rimuru-sama. Shuna beamed. Anything else? Rimuru asked. Sakura stepped forward to report that the dispute between Momiji and Albus over becoming Benimaru's first wife had ended in an absolute tie between both ladies. A similar situation had unfolded for Sue regarding Suka and Lightus. Both men were currently mentally exhausted and had taken refuge in Trainee's bar to drink away their stress. Must have been complete hell for those two, Rimuru chuckled nervously. Should we step in before it gets out of hand? Shishu asked, smiling softly. Nah, let's leave them be a little longer, Rimuru teased. Is that all? Well, it seems Blades has gotten much closer to Zijin and Apito. They have even started referring to each other as brother and sister, Shuna added. Really? That's wonderful. Good for you, Blades. Shinsho clapped her hands. But where is he now? He, Zijin, and Apito are currently undergoing evolution inside the dungeon, Shuna explained. Apito was the first to complete her evolution. Blade should be emerging very soon, but Zijin is still in the middle of his process. I see. I can't wait to see what he's going to look like. Shinsho said excitedly. I'm sure you'll love it, Rimuru smiled. Speaking of the dungeon, how is it faring? So far, only low-ranked adventurers are participating, so business isn't going as well as we hoped, Sakura reported. Only Masayuki and his party are having a good time in there, Shuna noted. This could be a problem, Rimuru hummed. What should we do? Shishu asked. I'll think of a solution later. I want to visit the dungeon first. Care to join me, you two? Rimuru asked. Of course, Shishu agreed. Yeah. I want to see how Blades is doing. Shinsho cheered. With that, the three of them set off toward the dungeon to check on their friends. Chapter 114 Check-up. Rimuru, Shishu, Shinsho, and Veldora went to see how the dungeon was doing after hearing Sakura's and Shuna's report. They went to check on Ramiris, only to find her in a miserable mood. Rimuru! You're back! Ramiris cried out, tears pouring from her eyes. Calm down, Ramiris. What happened? Rimuru asked. It's all Hinata's fault. Ramiris wailed. What? Shishu exclaimed. Ramiris explained that while they were away, Hinata took the opportunity to send her knights to challenge the dungeon. They bested a Dalman, but were soon defeated by Ramiris's elemental golem. However, Hinata herself then stepped in to put an end to it. I guess she was really mad to see her knights defeated like that, hey, Rimuru said. I can understand that, Shishu agreed. Hinata Nechan sure is a sore loser, Shinsho added. But that's not even the end of it. Ramiris continued. There's more. Rimuru and Shishu said together. Ramiris went on to explain that Hinata proceeded to defeat the other bosses. she defeated Apito, and since Seigen and Blades were still evolving, she bypassed them and moved on to the next floors. She reached the 90th floor and defeated Kumara. Ramiris then sent Beretta to stop her, but Beretta failed as well. Hinata relaxed in the 95th floor's hot spring, defeated the 4 dragons, and finally reached the 100th floor where Veldora was absent.
What the hell is that woman thinking?
Rimuru yelled. I can't believe Hinata did that. I'll be sure to scold her for this, Shizu said.
You're telling me she reached the 100th floor?
Veldora shouted.
Oh man. My first challenger, and I wasn't even here to fight her.
So she won against them. The bosses will just respawn, right?
Shinsho asked.
Normally, yes, but my golem is still a pile of junk, and it won't respawn. Ramiris complained.
Yeah.
That is bad, Shinsho admitted.
I am so sorry, Ramiris.
I'll make sure Hinata learns her lesson, Shizu promised. Meanwhile, at the Tempest school.
Achoo!
Hinata sneezed. Is something the matter, Mrs. Hinata?
Chloe asked.
No, it's fine, Hinata replied.
Why do I get the feeling I'm about to die?
Hinata thought to herself. Back in the dungeon? If the golem can't respawn, we might just have to replace it with something else.
Sorry, Ramiris, Rimuru said.
I guess there is no choice, Ramiris sighed.
What do you plan to replace it with?
Shishu asked. Why not let Blades take that position? Shinsho suggested. We can't, Rimuru explained. Seigen is the boss of the 80th floor, so floors 71 to 80 are all themed around insects. If we put Blades on the 70th floor, then floors 61 to 70 would have to be about insects too. That's not an option. Well, at least I'll still have him by my side, Shinsho said.
Why not let Cheris do it?
Shishu asked. Cheris is my assistant. He needs to focus more on me, so nope. Veldora interjected. You just don't want to go back to doing all the heavy lifting for Ramiris, right? Rimuru noted. I don't know what you're talking about, Veldora said, turning his head away. Well, let's put this on hold until we find a solution. In the meantime, have Beretta cover it for now, Rimuru decided. No problem, Rimuru, Ramiris agreed. I shall do my best, Beretta stated. Good. Now let's go see how the other floor bosses are doing, Rimuru said. They all left to visit the other floors. Chapter 115 Upgrades. They went through the floors and saw Milim returning while carrying Gobta. Rimuru remembered Milim had mentioned she would train Gobta, so he let her pass. Next, they checked the 60th floor where Adalman was stationed.
Rimuru-sama, I have failed you.
Adalman wept non-stop.
It wasn't your fault, Rimuru reassured him.
The knights have an advantage against undead like you. Plus, you can no longer use holy magic because you no longer view Luminous as your god.
Papa is right. You lost, so just get back up stronger.
Shinsho cheered. That's right, my little angel. So to you, Adalman, I shall lend the power of faith and grace, a skill I learned from Luminous that can help you use holy magic again, Rimuru said.
Really?
Thank you, most supreme god. Adalman cried with gratitude. After some time, Adalman was finally able to use his holy magic again. To top it off, Rimuru asked Ramiris to redesign his floor to his liking. What do you think? Aren't I amazing? Ramiris boasted.
Very amazing.
Shinsho smiled. No need to give her a bigger ego, Rimuru muttered. This place is absolutely magnificent. I shall protect it until my dying breath. Adalman declared. But you are already dead, right? Shinsho pointed out. Adalman went silent.
Okay, moving on.
Rimuru announced. They cleared out the broken golem and proceeded to the 80th floor, where they saw Apito standing next to her brother's cocoons. Rimuru-sama, Shizu-sama, Shinsho-sama. You have returned just in time. I believe Blades is about to hatch, Apito reported. Really? Shinsha's eye sparkled with excitement. Just as she spoke, the cocoon cracked slowly, and Blades emerged in his new insector form. He stood tall, walked over to Shinsho, and knelt with respect. Princess. Your loyal servant has finally returned to your side, Blades stated. Wow. I knew you would look cool, but this is next level. I love it. Shinsho cheered. I am unworthy of such praise, Blades replied. Either way, we are happy to see you. We hope you will continue to protect my daughter. Understood? Rimuru asked. I swear on my life. I will die before I let anything bad happen to the princess. Blades declared. Good. By the way, did you acquire an ultimate skill? Rimuru inquired. Yes, Rimuru-sama. It is called Tarnak, Lord of Steel, Blades answered. Cool. Shinsho grinned. They left Blades and continued checking on the others. Soon, only one problem remained. What are we going to do with the broken golem? Rimuru pondered. It would be a waste to just throw it out. Maybe we can turn it into something new. Shizu suggested. Like what? Rimuru asked. I know. Shinsho raised her hand. What is it? Rimuru asked. It's a surprise. Shinsho giggled, taking Ramiris and the broken golem with her. Rimuru wondered what she planned to do with it. Chapter 116 Bosses. 3 days passed since Shinsho went into the dungeon to work on her surprise. Rimuru and Shizu continued managing paperwork until Shinsho came into their office. Papa. Mama. It's done. Shinsho announced. Really? Shizu asked. What did you make? Rimuru inquired. Come see for yourselves. Shinsho beamed. As Shinsho turned around to lead the way, Shizu stopped her. Not so fast there, young lady. Look at you, you're all sweaty and dirty. Shizu scolded gently. Let's all take a bath first then, Rimuru suggested. Okay, let's go. Shinsho agreed. After bathing, they headed to the dungeon's 69th floor, right outside the entrance to the 70th floor. Are you ready to be amazed? Shinsho asked. They nodded, and Shinsho pushed open the door, revealing 3 giant cyber dragons. Wow! You did all this? Rimuru gasped. They are incredible. Shizu remarked. Auntie Ramiris and Uncle Veldora helped me. Shinsho giggled. That's right. Aren't we amazing? Ramiris cheered. I'd say that solves the boss monster issue for the 70th floor, doesn't it, Rimuru? Veldora grinned. It sure does, Rimuru agreed. We shall do our best to defend this floor, per Princess Shinsha's command, the 3 dragons stated in unison. I'm counting on you 3. Shinsho called out. Yes, Princess, the dragons responded. I have to ask, how strong are they? Shizu inquired. Shinsho explained their powers in detail to her parents. That is seriously overpowered. Rimuru exclaimed. Agreed. Shizu nodded. Which makes them the perfect bosses for this floor. Shinsho cheered. True, everyone agreed. As Rimuru and his family prepared to leave, Apito and Blades arrived. My lords! Zijin is about to hatch from his cocoon. Apito reported. Let's go see. Blades urged. They rushed to the 80th floor just in time to watch Zijin break out of his cocoon. Wow! Zijin looks so cool. Shinsho exclaimed. She then turned to Blades and added, "But you're still my favorite, Blades." "Thank you for your kind words, Princess," Blades bowed. Zijin approached Rimuru and bowed deeply. "My one true master, Rimuru-sama. I, Zijin, have finally returned to your side." "It's good to see you again, Zijin. Please do your best as this floor's boss," Rimuru said. "Yes, Rimuru-sama," Zijin replied. With that, the dungeon's boss issues were fully resolved. Chapter 117 Green Fury. Days flew by in Tempest without incident. The dungeon had experienced a slight slump with fewer adventurers visiting, but Rimuru resolved the issue quickly. "Are you sure giving away a stellar gold coin for each boss defeated is a good idea? Plus 100 stellar gold coins for whoever beats floor 100. Shishu questioned. "Relax, my dear. This way we attract adventurers. Besides, no one can beat Veldora, so we don't have to worry about paying out the 100 stellar gold coins," Rimuru reassured her. "I hope you know what you're doing," Shishu sighed. The next day, while Shishu handled office work, Rimuru went to the dungeon to assist Ramiris and Veldora in creating physical bodies for trainee sisters. He spent 2 days down there until Shuna arrived to inform him that Mjolmile was looking for him. Back at the mansion, "Rimuru-sama, we have a big problem," Mjolmile shouted, panicked. "Calm down, Mjolmile. Tell me what happened," Rimuru requested. Mjolmile explained that an adventurer group called Green Fury had entered the dungeon and was clearing bosses easily, rapidly approaching the 40th floor. "That's not good. This will make our dungeon a laughingstock," Rimuru exclaimed. "What do we do, Rimuru?" Ramiris panicked. "I have something we can use," Rimuru replied. Rimuru pulled out 8 monster cores, 4 called pseudo-souls and 4 standard monster cores. Just as he was about to explain how they worked, Milim walked in carrying an exhausted Gobta and Ronga. "I heard about Team Green Fury. How do we plan to deal with them?" Milim asked. "Sit down, and I'll explain," Rimuru said. Rimuru asked each of them to visualize a monster for their pseudo-soul. Rimuru envisioned a ghost, Ramiris pictured an armored warrior, Veldora chose a skeleton warrior, and Milim chose a red slime, which made Rimuru feel slightly embarrassed. Rimuru explained the mechanism, transferred his consciousness into the ghost, and the other 3 joined in. "This is incredible." Veldora laughed. "I knew you were amazing, Rimuru." Ramiris cheered. "That's my bestie for you. This is awesome." Milim yelled. "Glad you all like it. We shall use these new forms to take on Team Green Fury. Let's go." Rimuru led the way. "Right," the 3 shouted. The 4 avatar monsters headed to the first floor to test their new combat capabilities. 30 minutes later on the first floor, all 4 were completely defeated by beginner adventurers. "I can't believe we lost to novices. We need to train," Rimuru yelled in disbelief. They returned to the dungeon meeting room and agreed to practice their teamwork. Rimuru also visited Kurobe and Kaijin's workshop to request specialized equipment for their avatar forms. Within 3 days, their coordination and new equipment were ready. They intercepted Team Green Fury in the dungeon, completely defeating them within 10 minutes and ending the threat to their reputation. "That brings that threat to an end," Rimuru announced. "Yep. We won't have to worry about them for a while," Veldora agreed. "I say we celebrate," Ramiris chimed in. "Yeah. I want to eat yummy food," Milim cheered. "All right, let's eat." Rimuru smiled. "Yay," the 3 shouted, and they threw a small victory party together. Chapter 118 Punishment. Even after stopping Team Green Fury, the 4 continued operating their monster avatars occasionally to monitor the dungeon. Eventually, they decided to head back to the mansion. "Rimuru-sama, we have a guest here to see Milim-sama," Shuna announced. "A guest? I think I know who that is, Rimuru thought. Entering the room, they found Fry standing there with a terrifying smile. Uh-oh, Rimuru muttered. Milim immediately hid behind Rimuru. Milim, you seem to have forgotten your duties again. So, I came to pick you up, Fry said, her terrifying smile widening. Milim tried to craft an excuse, but Fry dragged her away before she could speak. Poor Milim, Rimuru murmured. Just as Rimuru, Veldora, and Ramiris thought the danger had passed, a menacing aura bloomed behind them, targeted straight at Rimuru. Master, are big in trouble. Yui Raphael warned. Oh no. Rimuru slowly turned his head to see Shizu smiling at him, but her expression carried a deadly warning. Veldora and Ramiris immediately fled the scene, leaving Rimuru completely alone with his angry wife. Oh, hey, honey, Rimuru stammered, sweating profusely. Well. Look who decided to show up after a whole week, Shizu said with a dark smile. I'm gonna die. Raphael, save me. Answer, just master. And apologize for gives praise Shiyu. That's not helping. Care to tell me why you weren't here for an entire week? Shizu asked. Well, Lim, you see. Rimuru stammered. Gotta think fast. Idea. Well, you see, dear, I was looking into a group of adventurers called Green Fury, Rimuru explained rapidly. And? Shizu pressed. Well, they weren't actually adventurers at all. They were a group of mercenaries called the Sons of Vert. So? Vert, as in the green primordial, misery. Guy Crimson's maid. Shizu slowly started to believe his explanation. I see. So you were trying to prevent Guy from spying on us? Yes, exactly. Rimuru nodded, feeling relieved. She bought it. Still, though, Shizu added, you took too much time with this and neglected me. I'm so sorry, my love. I promise I won't neglect you again, Rimuru pleaded. Then I guess I'll forgive you this time, Shizu sighed softly. Thanks. Rimuru exhaled. I survived. Just as he thought he was safe, Shinsha walked into the room. Papa, are you done playing with the pseudo-souls yet? I want to play in the dungeon too. Shinsha asked innocently. Crap. Oh, playing in the dungeon, is it? Shizu said, a dark smile returning to her face. Hee. Rimuru laughed nervously. I'm dead. Rimuru was severely scolded by Shizu and banned from entering the dungeon without her explicit permission. Chapter 119 Council Meeting, Part 1. While Rimuru served his punishment, the Council of the West convened to discuss Tempest. Inside the council hall. I believe having Tempest join us will be beneficial, one councillor stated. But they are monsters. Can we be sure they can be trusted? A second councillor argued. True. If we anger their leader, he might unleash the storm dragon on us, a third added. We don't need to worry about him. Besides, he is only borrowing the dragon's power, a fourth councillor claimed. Even so. The third councillor hesitated. Then explain how he was able to fight Lady Hinata to a draw, the second councillor countered. Hinata sat at the far end of the hall listening quietly to their debate. These fools know nothing about Rimuru. But the councillors from the larger nations are far more foolish, Hinata thought to herself. I think having Tempest join us would be a great idea, a chief councillor said. True. We would gain access to their trade goods, such as that Magitrain of theirs, a second chief councillor agreed. Indeed. But we should test them to see if they will uphold our laws, a third chief councillor added. As long as they are useful to us, I don't really care, a fourth chief councillor remarked. A councillor named Johann spoke up. I say it is a good idea to have them join us, especially given recent events in the East. The mention of the East caused several councillors to shiver. The East, a councillor gasped. You mean the Empire has become active? Another asked. I'm afraid so, Johann confirmed. Several minor councillors began to panic. What do we do? If they attack, we're finished. Calm down, Johann urged. I said they are active, not that they are ready to launch an immediate attack. Councillor Johann is correct, another voice interjected. If we panic, we waste time. Inviting Tempest to join us is our best course of action. Thank you, Councillor Garban, Johann acknowledged. Since the Empire has not attacked yet, it means there is an obstacle in their path. I am sure you all know what it is, Garban stated. Of course, the Storm Dragon, a councillor answered. Exactly. If Tempest joins us, the deterrent of the Storm Dragon effectively belongs to us as well, Garban explained. Small glimmers of hope appeared among the councillors. So, my fellow councillors, Garban addressed the room. Have we reached an agreement? This was now the most critical decision of their political lives. Chapter 120 Council Meeting, Part 2. The councillors continued debating the issue, with some fully on board and others remaining hesitant. I know some of you are afraid, but if we do not resolve this now, the Empire will crush us, Johann warned. I ask all of you to consider who our real enemy is. Is it Tempest, or is it the Empire? Within minutes, the votes were cast. I agree to allow Tempest to join the council, the first councillor announced. I agree as well, the second added. I second that, the third confirmed. One by one, the councillors voted to formally invite Tempest to join the Council of the West. Hinata stood up from her seat and walked out of the hall. These fools know nothing about Rimuru, yet they dare speak of him like that. If I have to listen to another noble, I'll. Lady Hinata, may I have a word with you? A voice called out behind her. Hinata sighed internally, turning around to see Prince Alric, the first Prince of Ingracia, accompanied by his knight, Raina. Hello, Prince Alric. How may I help you today? Hinata asked formally. I would like to discuss Demon Lord Rimuru with you. Shall we find somewhere to sit? Alric proposed. The three sat down, and Alric outlined his plan to test Rimuru's compliance. Now that you know the plan, I hope you will assist me with this task, Alric said politely. How foolish can he be? Hinata thought. I'm sorry, but I will not participate in your scheme. I strongly advise you to think twice about what you plan to do, Hinata replied coldly. What? Alric blinked. How dare you speak to the prince in such a tone? Raina barked. Listen to me, Hinata warned sternly. I am saying this for your own good. Do not anger Demon Lord Rimuru, or you will face something far worse than death. Her statement sent a chill down both of their spines. Now, if you'll excuse me, I will be taking my leave. Good day, Hinata said, exiting the building. Back in Tempest. Shizu, honey, please forgive me. I promise I won't slack off during work hours anymore. Rimuru begged. All right, I forgive you, Shizu smiled softly. Rimuru kissed her cheek, causing her to blush. At that moment, Shuna entered the room holding a letter. Rimuru-sama, Shizu-sama, an official letter from the Council of the West has just arrived, Shuna reported. So the time has come, Rimuru observed. Yes. I shall call Diawolo, Testarossa, and Azrael to wait for you outside, Shuna said. Thank you, Shuna, Rimuru nodded. Have a safe trip, my love, Shizu said gently. I promise, love, Rimuru replied. They gathered outside the mansion. With a snap of Rimuru's fingers, he, Diawolo, Testarossa, and Azrael teleported directly outside the gates of Ingracia. Chapter 121 Before the meeting. Arriving in Ingracia early, Rimuru and his group decided to explore the city before their meeting. Alright, let's go try out some new clothes. Rimuru suggested. As you wish, Rimuru-sama, Diawolo bowed. It would be an honor, Testarossa smiled smoothly. I'm fine with what I'm wearing, Azrael demurred. Come now, no need to be shy. Join us, Testarossa coaxed. All right, I'll try some on, Azrael relented. They entered a local clothing shop in Ingracia. Testarossa looked stunning in her new outfit, while Diawolo and Azrael looked remarkably sharp in their formal attire, making Rimuru feel a bit envious. Are you going to try some on too, Rimuru? Azrael asked. Why not? I'll show you a foolproof way to pick the perfect outfit, Rimuru boasted. Okay. Azrael replied. I look forward to seeing it, Diawolo added. Rimuru turned to the shopkeeper. Excuse me, do you have any clothes that would look good on me? You're just asking the shop owner. Azrael thought. After shopping, they sat at a small cafe to enjoy light refreshments. Shortly after, Hinata walked up and pointed out Rimuru's juvenile outfit. Damn it! That shop owner really chose children's clothes for me. Rimuru grumbled. Hey, you look cute in that poncho outfit though, Azrael teased. Shut up. Rimuru snapped. Okay, Azrael chuckled. I'm definitely going to give that shop owner a piece of my mind after this, Rimuru thought. They continued their meal, and Hinata warned Rimuru that certain council members might attempt to test his authority. If they think they can use our master like a tool, I shall personally execute them on the spot. Diawolo declared darkly. I second that, Testarossa agreed calmly. You two will do no such thing, understand? Rimuru ordered. Yes, Rimuru-sama, the two demons answered in unison. Are you sure you can keep your cool for that long? Azrael asked Rimuru. Of course I can, Rimuru replied. If you say so, Azrael mused. I know how to keep my cool, Azrael. Rimuru thought. Right, I should also mention that the guy named Muse is dead, according to Sue's report. Rimuru shared the details of Sue's report with everyone via thought acceleration, also explaining the mechanics of a gun. That's all I came to say. I'll be heading in first, Hinata said, standing up. Right. See you inside, Rimuru acknowledged. Hinata left the cafe, and a few minutes later, Rimuru and his subordinates headed toward the council building. Time to see how these councillors operate, Rimuru thought. Chapter 122 Council of the West, Part 1. Rimuru and his companions entered the council building, where several noble councillors immediately approached to greet him. Demon Lord Rimuru, it is a pleasure to finally meet you in person, the first councillor bowed. I hope you are in good health, the second added politely. If there is anything you need, please let us know, the third offered. Thank you all for your hospitality. I shall remember your faces, Rimuru replied gracefully. Thank you, Demon Lord, they responded. Just as Rimuru thought the introductions were going smoothly, the chief councillors from the larger nation stepped forward. Rimuru instantly knew these men would be far more difficult to deal with. Demon Lord Rimuru, I am glad to finally meet you. I hope we can establish a strong, mutually beneficial relationship, the first chief councillor said smoothly. Indeed. My nation is more than willing to assist you, especially in completing your Magitrain project, the second chief councillor added. I hope you won't mind routing the tracks through my nation first. It would be very beneficial, the third chief councillor pressed. These guys aren't worth my time, but I have to maintain formal appearances, Rimuru thought. We can discuss this further after today's meeting, all right? Rimuru proposed neutrally. Very well, the first chief councillor agreed. I see no issue with that, the second nodded. We shall speak again later, the third concluded as they entered the main assembly hall. Rimuru sighed. Man, those representatives from the larger nations are a pain. Shall I dispose of them, Rimuru-sama? Diawolo offered instantly. Let me handle it, Rimuru-sama. Administrative matters of this nature will fall under my duties soon anyway, Testarossa suggested. Enough,
You too. No killing, understood? Rimuru commanded. Yes, Rimuru-sama, both demons replied. They entered the meeting chamber, and Rimuru took his seat at the front of the hall, facing the assembled assembly. I suppose I can't blame them for being cautious, Rimuru thought. Lester, the presiding official, stepped forward. Good evening, everyone. Today we are gathered to discuss Tempest's admission to the Council of the West. Demon Lord Rimuru, please review these proposed terms for admission. If you accept, we shall proceed. Very well. I shall hear your terms, Rimuru replied. Terms of admission. Uphold all international treaties and council laws. Grant full access to Tempest's economic sphere. Provide military support upon council request. Demon Lord Rimuru, do you accept these terms? Lester asked. Rimuru did not reply immediately. He picked up a quill, wrote several revisions across the document, and handed it to Testarossa, who brought it to Lester. As Lester scanned the pages, his face went pale. No way. He rewrote all the terms word for word and inserted completely customized clauses. If you agree to these modified terms, I will have no problem joining, Rimuru stated calmly. Please give us a moment to deliberate, Lester stammered. 3 hours later, Lester returned with the documents, looking visibly exhausted and stressed. As Rimuru scanned the returned papers, he saw that the council had attempted to reject his clauses while adding further restrictive demands. Rimuru stood up abruptly. The heavy wooden table in front of him was kicked high into the air, splintering into pieces as it crashed onto the floor. Well now, Rimuru said, his tone dropping into a dangerous coldness. You people certainly think highly of yourselves, don't you? Are you trying to mess with me? Why did it turn out like this?